The Thursday before the wedding, we had come from rehearsal. My mom told me, you know, Caroline, you can call off the wedding and I'll still love you as my daughter. And it seems just like yesterday. And I remember telling Mom, how can I call off the wedding? Shosho has come all the way from Kenya because I'm named after her. I'm her first granddaughter. I'm thinking, we've invited over 400 people. We've paid all these vendors. We've spent so much money. We paid the DJ, the catering, the hall. In my head, I was justifying
why you
shouldn't cancel. But in my heart,
you knew it was
the right thing. When you've been abused as a woman, there's a part of you that feels stuck. You can't even make a move. You're questioning the moves that you're making. You're questioning, now when I leave, how am I gonna leave? And leaving an abuser can be very fatal. And I always say, as women, if you're in an abusive relationship, never tell an abuser you're leaving, because that's when a lot of women actually get killed.
First of all, I want to take a moment to apologize for the trauma and the pain that you've been through. Even though it wasn't done by me, but I still think it's appropriate for someone to say sorry.
Thank you.
If there's anything that I've learned listening to the story again, is hearing your heart. You know, you have a pure heart. You're always willing to go out on a limb for a person, and you're willing to serve and to love, and that was taken for granted and that was abused. So initially, to start, I want to say I'm sorry.
Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being my hubby. I call him my lovey.
Yes.
But most importantly, I thank God for the man of the house that you are, taking care of me, loving me. I really thank God for 12 years together. We've gone through ups and downs, but I want you to know I would not want to do it with anyone else but you.
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to LNS Rebuilding Edition. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Guys, I know majority of the people who are watching, or even the people who are about to go to marriage, may end up making either the right choices or the wrong choices. My guest today is no exception. She knows what it is to live with an abuser, to marry an abuser, and to fear coming out of that relationship. But she also knows what it feels to experience love a second time. So guys, I know we will be a bit emotional, but I can also tell you we are having a happy ending to today's conversation, and she will be able to walk us through exactly what happened to her and how did she come out of it. I'm about to let her introduce herself, but guys, today I received an amazing email from one of my fans in diaspora. I'm not even kidding you right now. This is not me telling you to use tap tap send, and it filled my heart when Chebet wrote me that email saying that she had used tap tap send, and she even used my code Lynn, and she got her discount. So for the people who do not know what tap tap send is, it's a money transfer app that allows you to send money to your loved ones back in Kenya. It's very fast, efficient, and they get to sort you out if anything happens in the process. And as always, you can use my code Lynn to get the discounts, the cashback that are right here on the screen in your first transaction. Download their app on Apple Store or Play Store, guys, and don't forget to tell me how your experience is with tap tap send. They are our new partners. I love them. I love working with them, and I want you guys to go and support them, because supporting them means that you are supporting our channel grow, and I don't take that for granted. The afro is back, so can I hear the drum rolls? Edgar said that I've joined the men's desk, and I was like, Edgar, what are you even talking about? This is like our signature hairstyle on the show. So guys, I had to bring it back one more time. And in case you love my dress, I'm a big fan of supporting our own. This is Wild by Murugi. You can go and check them out. They've not paid me to say this. I just love it. It's nice, and you can go and support them. And to you guys for being incredible supporters of our work. You know how we are doing right now. We are thanking our team at the beginning. Edgar, Muga, scholar behind the scenes. Asanteni sana. And of course, Samuel Kevin for compiling this episode and making sure it reaches you guys right on time. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let this beautiful guest introduce herself. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am great.
Karibu
I am
sana.
great. Asante sana.
Hey, man.
I am so honored to be here, and even thank you to your amazing crew that have been a great support to you. And thank you again for having this platform where people can share their stories, give hope and encouragement and healing. Yes.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I know, first, let me let you introduce yourself. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caroline Wamboi Mbithi Day, and I'm so honored to be here in this amazing platform, in Lynn's platform, and also thank you to the amazing crew that do the amazing work behind the scenes.
Yes, karibu
Grateful
sana.
to be here.
How does it feel having your hubby there supporting you? And should I remove him from that side and just put him there? How does it feel to have your partner with you?
I am really blessed. I call him my gentle giant. Gentle giant. He's been amazing. He's been my bowers from God.
That's beautiful. I'm loving these conversations. But as you know, we are doing this rebuilding series, and I know you've watched our work for such a long time. Before you tell me why it was important for you to share your story, what do you think we need to improve on our platform?
I think you're doing everything as it should be. You know, it's very authentic. It feels, because I always watch you, as I was sharing earlier, I always watch you every single day, Monday through Friday. And I always look forward, like when the morning comes, I'm always like, I can't wait to see the show that she hosted. So I think keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring a lot of us all over the world. You know, this is going all over the world. And we thank God even for platforms like this one that stream all over the world. You're not just restricted to one that has a lot of red tape. This your network has been changing lives, including mine. Every story that I've watched has been, I always learned some life lessons with every guest that you've had. So I wouldn't say there's nothing else you need to improve. The only thing I would say is get ready for expansion. I know what we've been seeing is just the harvest. We do not see the preparation that it took you so long, but God was preparing you for the stages of the world. That even this right here, I wrote everything on my phone actually, as the Lord was speaking to me to let you know, get ready for expansion, to enlarge your tent, but also a bigger studio. Your own studios. And this is humble beginnings, but it's you do such excellent work, such clean, excellent work that we relate with.
Thank you.
I
appreciate that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
You. We'll try.
I have my tissues right
man,
here.
You came ready.
I can feel my tears. I'm like, God, just help me.
No, he's here. I can feel it. You know, when I saw your email, I was like, oh my God, it starts like this. And then it has such a beautiful, happy ending. And for me, every time I come across someone who has been able to come out of an abusive situation, I cannot help but acknowledge that it takes a lot of strength. Because I know there are so many people who are still there, and there are so many people, unfortunately, who might not even ever come out of it. And then there are people who will end up being statistics. So for me, I just want to say, I'm so glad that we can be able to sit and have this conversation with you as someone who came out of it, and as someone who will be able to walk us through her journey, not from a victim mentality. And there's nothing wrong with the victim mentality, but I love survivor stories because even if I'm not able to sit with people who are broken here, they can be able to watch and say, look at her, she did it. I can also do it. and this is the manual, this is how she did it.
Yes.
And even if I'm in this point, this is how I need to come out of it. So
Right.
thank you for wanting to share your story. But before I sit and
Yeah.
just chill and let you take us through, there's always a question I love asking. Why was it important for you to want to share this part of your life with us?
The reason why it's important, I always say, everyone has a story.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't allow what we've been through to define who we are.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, we have some of us who've come out on the other side. There are times we get comfortable with our new life, but the Lord always reminds me, think about those who are where you used to be, Caroline. Be their voice of hope, be their voice of encouragement. Let them know that there's life beyond what happened to you.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you're in it, you feel as though that's all you know. But if they can see someone who's come over onto the other side, that tells them, you know what, I'm not going to give up. If she has made it over on the other side,
Yes.
I need to hold on and not give up.
Good.
And that's why I have to share my story.
All right.
And I always say there's no shame in sharing your story. It's in sharing our story that we set people free from some of the things that they are going through.
Yes.
And let them know there's life beyond what you've been through. Yeah.
Good. I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take I'm going to relax here and just let you walk us through your story. So choose a place to start.
Okay.
Wherever you wanna start us from. Maybe just the way we went through it in the email.
Okay.
Just feel free to take us through that story.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like you always say, let's go back to the beginning.
Let's go back to the beginning.
I grew up in Waithaka, Rirota,
Yeah.
specifically Dwaru Road. That's where I was born and raised. I'm the firstborn.
Yeah.
I have two brothers, Daniel Joseph, and one sister, Mary. And we grew up in a conservative Christian family. Our parents gave us the best life that they knew how to. We don't come from wealth, but they loved us and they brought us in the ways of God. God and was emphasized in our family. And actually, we just passed down my primary school here. I went to Kilimani, and I saw the school, and it brought so many memories. And after primary school, I went to high school in Odero, Lower Kabete. That's where I went to high school. And life was great. Life was great. After I finished high school, during the time we had our former, the late president, Daniel Arap Moi.
Yes.
And during that time, there was a lot of instability in the country. So my parents weren't too sure about the future of the country. So they decided they're going to look for a school for me to go to out of the country. So I went to Boston. That is where I landed.
Yeah.
And I was 20 years young with big dreams. But actually, before embarking on that journey to the United States, I think back in the day when KTN was being established, I had actually gone to interview to be an anchor.
Look at you!
To be an anchor. I just remembered that.
Yes.
And the interview was being held in Kasarani. But I passed, but they said I was too young, and that really broke my heart because I really wanted to be an anchor. Then the other thing I also wanted to do was to be an air hostess, and they always wanted tall and slim people, but I wasn't.
Nah.
So I said, you know what?
Nah.
I will just go to the college then, because I felt as though my dreams had been shattered. So my parents found the school in Boston, and that is why I went. I was 20 years young with big dreams, big dreams, because I knew I was called for greatness, but I did not know what that entailed or what I would have to go through to help unleash that greatness. And it's in landing in America, 20 years young, that's when I met my ex-husband. We had actually met in a housewarming party, and that was in 1997. And at the time, there were not too many Kenyans who were in the diaspora. So there was a very small community. So whenever a newcomer came from Kenya, that whole community would come pick you up at the airport in Boston. You know how when you were going to the United States, the whole village,
all of them, yes.
the whole village would escort you.
Yes.
So in America at the time, that's what they used to do for us. So you kind of felt special. And when you were a newbie, they really helped you get things around. And at the time, not many Kenyans there had a car. So those who had a car, it was a big, big deal, you know. So I went to college. I actually went to Quincy College, which was like the landing school to help you just get inside. And there were a lot of Kenyans, and I loved that small community. We all helped each other. And it's in the process that I met my ex-husband. 20 years, I was 20 years young. He was 27 or 26, I believe. But at the beginning, I was not attracted to him. He was the kind of person who just pursued and pursued until you just said, you know what, let me just say yes.
And women love the chase.
You know, you want to be chased.
Women love the chase.
You want to be chased. And guys also love to hunt.
Yes.
You know, I think from his perspective, I think it's this the canoe comer. Let me hunt. So eventually, and he was nice at first. He would help because I had a roommate. He would pick us up from college, you know. So we don't take the bus. And then he would drop us back to our apartment. And he was just, I guess, pursuing at that time. And eventually I was like, you know what, let me give this guy a chance. And I was feeling, he's been so nice to us. I didn't want to say no. Because one of the things I always share is we have to teach our children the power of no. We have to teach them when they're very young. And in fact, I was having a conversation with my mom yesterday, and, you know, just some real raw conversation. Our parents, during my age, they did not have those conversations with us. And it's only, I think, this generation that is having those real raw conversation with their kids. So I think a lot of us during that time that we didn't have conversations with our mothers to tell us, okay, this is how this is the appropriate way to be treated by a man. This is how you also, as a man, this is how you treat a woman. You know, when she says no, that's no, you know, and vice versa. So for me, being the nice girl, I did not know how to say no to him. So we started dating. But a lot of my friends would tell me, oh, you know, he's known, he has a reputation, you know. But at the time, I was starting to fall in love with him. And he would bring flowers, you know, he would buy me food. You know, I felt spoiled, you know, how someone can pursue you and wine and dine you. You get drawn in, you know.
And plus, he's a constant, so you are like...
I know. So it's in the process that I eventually fell in love. And looking back, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what that was. But it was toxic love, because there are times we would break up and make up, break up and make up. I can't even tell you how many times. And a lot of my friends would tell me, be careful, you know, because he was actually known to be a serial cheater. But for me, I didn't see it. A lot of time when you're in a toxic relationship, you don't see it because you're so blinded by love. And we continued having a relationship. In my head, I thought we were exclusive, but apparently we were not. And I remember my parents coming to visit, I believe it was in 1999. And my mom, she's a very intuitive woman of God. And she told me, Caroline, that man, there's something about that man that's not right for you. But I started an argument with my mom. I told her, Mom, you don't even know him. He treats me nice. You know, he buys me gifts, you know. And at the time, we had actually started living together. And I hadn't even disclosed that to my parents because I knew the shame You know, that's not who they raised me up to be.
Yes.
But I knew in my heart it was the wrong thing. But sometimes you can know it's the wrong thing, but because you're too concerned about what people will think, you remain in that situation. And we continued. My mom told me, you know, I love you, but he's not, there's something that he's not the one. He's not the one. So my parents went back because they would always come to visit. My parents went back. We continued living together. And it's in living together that the emotional abuse started. And intimate partner trauma affects a lot of women. And it's a cycle. You know, they pursue you. There's the pursuing stage, which is, they call it the honeymoon stage. You know, where things are nice, the sex is nice, you're treated like the queen, like a trophy girlfriend. Then there's the abuse that starts emotional, and it always starts as an emotional abuse. And you know, he would always say things like, "Oh, you're too fat," you know. So that would start me getting me in a place of doubting who I am, my self-worth, my self-esteem, because he would be cheating with other women. And whenever I would question him, he would say, it's because of this and this and this. These are the things you do. That's why I'm going out there.
You knew he was cheating.
Oh, yeah. As a woman, you know, we're detectives. Yes. We're detectives.
Yes.
You know, you can always tell when your partner is cheating,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And there would also be phone calls that would come. That time there were no cell phones, but you know, the line in the house, the landline rather, yes, women would be calling. And some of these women, I knew who they were, you know. But that shame of trying to get out of that situation, you know, there's shame, and you're also trying to prove to the community, you know, I can keep this guy, you know. But I always say, you cannot teach a man to love you. If he doesn't love you, you just have to leave. Yes. But leaving is a process. So we continued like that in that relationship. And I remember attending one of, she is, I don't want to mention her name, but she's a prophet here with a big church. She would come to Boston for prophetic conferences. And I attended that conference. And she called me out in the front and she said, God has a need of you. He wants to use you greatly, not just in America, but in the world. But the man you're living with, you need to break that relationship. And I knew exactly what she meant. About. And you know the prophet, if I tell you the name. Yeah. And I knew I needed to leave. And we broke up, but then he pursued me again. So we ended up living together again. And it's hard to leave an abuser. They have such a hold on you because it's control. And a lot of times your self-worth is diminished, your self-image is diminished, and you're trying to prove to the community, I got this. But you know inside you don't. So we continued, and I remember there's a time he got very, very sick. He actually ended up in the hospital. He had lost so much weight, so much weight. And people in the community were thinking he has AIDS. And his case actually became a case study in one of the big hospitals in Boston. And I was by his side in spite of everything he had put me through. And at that time, the emotional abuse hadn't escalated to the physical. So I was at the hospital with him. He was there for like 3 months. I nursed him. I was cleaning his behind. He had lost so much weight that you could count the ribs, you know. And at that time, he was the sweetest. You know, he showed me this other side and he told me, you know what, I want to make this work. You know, I want this relationship to work. I want to fight for you. I want to be married to you. You know, all these promises that we want. Yes. And I was just in my 20s. And eventually he got out of the hospital.
What was he ailing from?
Because of privacy,
Okay.
I can't
Sorry.
disclose it. But he got treated. He got treated. It's something that's treatable.
Yes.
He got treated, and he gave his life to the Lord actually at the hospital. And I was like, oh, finally he got saved, and life was good for a moment. And I remember after we got out and he was healing and getting better, we started going to church. And at the time, there was this one church that all the Kenyans used to go to because there weren't too many Kenyan churches. And he actually even walked to the front and told the whole congregation,
Yes.
from this day forth, I have given my life to the Lord. And everyone was shocked because he was not known as one who would give his life to the Lord, but he did give his life to the Lord. And when he gave his life to the Lord, life was great. So I thought, we had some really, really good times when he got saved. And that's when he actually engaged me. And we were starting now to plan our wedding, And we continued planning our wedding, but then I started hearing the phone calls again. The phone calls would come at the night, and some of the women would leave messages, and you'd listen to the message and know where he was, And whenever I would question him, he would gaslight me and tell me, you're making things up. These are just my friends. There's nothing going on. But in your heart as a woman, when someone cheats on you, you know. I think it's a gift that God has given us.
I don't know, but why is it that but then someone still has the power to convince you otherwise, and you start believing in their truth, even though you know?
I think as women, we always want the best in people, even though the evidence of who they are is right there. We give as women, we give so many chances. And I think I gave him so many chances. And a lot of people would ask me, why are you not leaving? And I always say, when there's what we call betrayal trauma, when you've been abused as a woman, and it can also happen, there are women who abuse men. When you've been abused as a woman, there's a part of you that feels stuck. You can't even make a move. You're questioning the moves that you're making. You're questioning, now when I leave, how am I gonna leave? And leaving an abuser can be very fatal. And I always say, as women, if you're in an abusive relationship, never tell an abuser you're leaving, because that's when a lot of women actually get killed. It gets to a place where you even start to threaten the guy that nitakuacha, I'm done, I'm walking out the door. And that's the time where women are killed. Always have an exit plan, but have someone you confined to, but don't let an abuser know when you're leaving. So we continued living together. We forged ahead, and we ended up, deciding, okay, we're gonna get married. And that was in 2001. I remember it was a big deal because he was known as this community leader. And a lot of abusers are very good community organizers. They have a two-phase life. In the public, they're great.
Awesome.
Everyone is in awe of them, and if you try and tell anyone who they are, they won't believe you, But I always say, if you're a woman and you're living with an abuser, only the woman knows the real man. Because out there, he would organize, he was known as the MC of, if there was a Kenyan event, a Harambee, he was a go-to guy. So we planned to get married 2001. My grandmother flew all the way from Kenya. My relatives came all the way from Kenya. My parents came. And I remember distinctly the Thursday before the wedding, we had come from rehearsal. My mom told me, Caroline, you can call off the wedding and I'll still love you as my daughter. And It seems just like yesterday. And I remember telling Mom, how can I call off the wedding? Shosho has come all the way from Kenya because I'm named after her. I'm her first granddaughter. I'm thinking, we've invited over 400 people. We've paid all these vendors. We've spent so much money. We paid the DJ, the catering, the hall. In my head, I was justifying
why you shouldn't
I shouldn't cancel. But in my heart,
you knew it was the
I
right
knew
thing
it was
to
the
do.
right thing. And we almost got in an argument with my mom because she told me, Caroline, I'm reminding you, this is not the man for you, you know, because at that time, the physical abuse hadn't started. It was just emotional. And I would always downplay it, you know, because you treat me nice afterwards. So we went ahead, we got married. We got married July. It was July 20th. I still remember the date, 2001. And I remember walking down the aisle when my parents walked me down the aisle. I was so sad. You know, on your wedding day, you're supposed to be happy.
Yes.
I was so sad because I knew I was making the biggest mistake. And I could see people cheering on both sides. You know, it's a great wedding. But I knew I had made the biggest mistake. But I was too ashamed to acknowledge this is wrong. And I always say, you'd rather have a broken engagement than a broken marriage, you know. And I always say, when you know who you are, there's nothing to prove, you know, because I was trying to prove to people, oh, I kept the guy, we're getting married, you know, all these other side chicks. I was in my head, I was like, okay, I conquered. But in my heart, I knew this was the worst mistake of my life. So we went ahead, got married, and life was good for a while. My parents went back to Kenya. Shosho went back to Kenya. After everyone had settled, now it's me and him. And that's when it escalated to physical abuse. And let me tell you, there's nothing as shameful as a woman who's been battered, you know. And at the time, there was no social media, you know, there was no safe space like you have to talk to people and let them know what you're going through. So for me, I was just keeping everything inside. I didn't know, I couldn't call my mom. And every time I would talk to my mom on the phone and she would tell me, Caroline, there's something you need to tell me, you know. What is it? I could not find the courage to tell her. But my mom knew. You know, oh, excuse me. Mothers know.
Yes.
Mothers know. And I always say, irrespectful of the relationship you have with your mom, they give birth to you. They know when you're hurting. They know when you're going through stuff. Because there are times she would call me and tell me, Caroline, I've been praying for you. And there are things that are troubling you, but you're not telling me, you know. But I was too ashamed to acknowledge to her, Mom, you were right all along, you know. And my dad is a quiet guy, you know. But I could tell even him, it bothered him. Because even when my brother came, because my brother also came for the wedding, my brother Joseph, when he first met my ex, he told me, Caroline, uyo simpendi, he's straight up. Uyo simpendi, he's not fit for you. And I always say, as a woman, when you meet a person that you're dating, bring him around your friends.
And family.
And family. They will tell you the truth.
Yes.
And when they tell you the truth, you better listen.
I think that's my marking scheme. I swear, that's my marking scheme. I promise that's my marking scheme.
I'm telling you. Because a lot of times, because as abusers will pursue you, they'll date you, and they will move you from your family and your friends, because that's also what he had done.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, this is nice, you know. He wants all the time with me. But if you see someone who's taking you away from your friends, your family, who doesn't want to be around your family and people who matter to you, run for your life.
Please.
I don't care the chemistry or how great the
run.
sex is.
Just
run. You
Just
have
run.
to run for your life.
Yes.
Because, you know, hindsight is 2020. These are life lessons that I've learned, and I always share, you know, with people and tell them, look at there's signs along the way. Even the prophetic word I had been given, you know, I was too afraid. I was too afraid to leave. But even when I left, I still went back. So we got married. Life was good. But the physical abuse started.
Yeah. Can I ask you
Yes.
something? Because emotionally, we don't know we've been abused until
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
Until you look back and you're like, this is what he said. He said I was fat. He said I don't like this and this and this. And then years later, that's now when you realize,
Yeah.
God, I was so emotionally abused. I
Yeah.
had no idea, right?
Yeah.
Physical, it's right here in front of you.
Right.
For you, that moment, because for me, I always say, I don't care.
Yeah.
Me, you slap me.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yeah.
For me, I have so much fear of physical abuse.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what many women fear, because we did not even know about emotional abuse until people started talking about emotional abuse.
Right.
Because it's not visible, right?
Yes.
But for you, that first hit, that first physical act, how was it for you, and how did you react towards it?
The first, it was a punch, and it was a punch right here. And I was actually in nursing school, and I remember I was shocked, you know, because the emotional abuse, you know, the belittling, you know, he makes you feel like you're nothing. He speaks to you like a child, you know.
Like you don't have your own brain.
Exactly. You even start to question who you are.
Yes.
And I didn't know that was emotional abuse until way later. But the first hit was a punch over here. And it left a mark. It was on a Sunday. Because at the time, we had a store and would sell things on Sundays. And I was telling him, I need to go to church. You know, I don't need to be opening the store on Sunday. I need to go to church. And he was like, no, we need to make money. And that became an argument. And the next thing, I still remember, I was shocked, I was frozen. It's like the moment stood still, because I could not believe he had hit me. And I didn't know what to do. I was frozen. And I think when someone hits you like that, the first time, my response was not to hit back. I was just frozen and shocked that I didn't know what to do. And I just downplayed it. I even started to feel bad that I felt as though I had made him do it to me. It messes up with your head, you know?
And what is he saying?
He was like, you can't question me about opening the store. You know, we need to make money, because at that time my sister, his brother and sister were here, so we were also taking care of them. So in his perspective, he was like, we need to open the store, make money on Sunday. But I was like, I need to go to church. And I think that was a reasonable thing to ask, because during the week that store was open. And I was just really shocked. I did not know what to do, Lynn. And I think for me, I would always downplay it and try to de-escalate the situation so he doesn't continue beating me up. And I went to bed. The following day, I went to school. I was in nursing school. And one of my professors actually, what happened to you? I see you have a bump here, Caroline. I just lied to her. I told her, oh, I tripped down the stairs. And as women, we tend to cover so much for abusers. You know, and you could even have a big marking somewhere. We always cover for them. And now that became a learned behavior, covering for him whenever he would hit me. And as life continued, it got to a point where I was just tired because he was continuing to cheat. And I started to slowly say, if you're going out there to cheat and we're married, I don't want to be in this relationship. you know. And he'd always say, this is my life, I can do what I want. And in my head, I'm thinking, you could bring STDs, you know, in this relationship. And I said, if you're out there cheating, there's no way I'm going to have sex with you, even though we're married. And I started slowly to establish boundaries. But he was not one who would respect boundaries, you know. And that is why I was saying, as men, as fathers, teach the men how to treat women. When a woman says no,
It's a no.
it's a no. Respect her boundaries. And the same thing as women. So he continued cheating, and I continued enabling his behavior.
Oh, that bad.
And I have to acknowledge that, because I didn't have the courage to stand up for myself. I didn't have anyone I could talk to. And this has been a couple of years of abuse, gaslighting, emotional abuse, physical abuse. And the thing that broke the straw for me was one time where we got into a fight and he tried to choke me. And I literally saw death. And my sister was in the other room. And every time he would hit me, I would try and keep the voice down. Because my sister, she's in the other room, and his sister is in the other room.
Yeah.
And when he tried to choke me, he also pulled my braids, and they literally came out from the edges. And I could see the phone, trying to reach for the phone because I knew I needed to call the cops. But at the time, I'm thinking, if I call the cops, he's going to be deported. Because in America, domestic abuse, they don't play. They'll put you to jail. And after that, they'll deport you. They don't play. They really protect women, they protect children and the elderly. But also men who are also abused, they'll put the women in jail as well. But in my head, I'm thinking, God, if I call the cops, he's going to be deported. Now everyone is going to blame me, you know. So as I was trying to reach for the phone and he was choking me, he pulled the braids. You know, the braids came off on the edge of my edges. And that's why sometimes I say my edges, my edges have been slowly growing. They've taken forever. So he pulled the phone off from the wall. So I couldn't make that phone call. And when he was trying to choke me, I knew I cannot stay here any longer. So I moved out of the bedroom. I went to the other bedroom. And I think for me, that was where I started to slowly find my courage, because I had never, all this time, I had never left the bedroom.
That part. All this time,
all of this time,
I
had never, I was still
this
there.
Time you opened
as the nice wife,
Yes.
as a nice wife.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister telling me, my sister, she's the last born. But she became a big sister at that time.
Yeah,
and
how was the reaction? Both
my
sisters?
sister, they were like, this is wrong. Because even his sister was like, you shouldn't be treating your wife like that, you know. And even his brother, they were like, that's not how you treat your wife, you know. But who was he to be told what to do by the young ones? But the young ones saw what was happening. And my sister told me, you know, Caroline, we can leave. You know, we can leave. And in my head, when she said that, I realized, wow, I do have an option.
We can leave.
I can leave. But at the same time, I'm trying to make the marriage work. You know, at the time, when you're married, who wants to break a marriage? Even though it was already broken. It was already broken, you know. So I started living in the other bedroom. And I decided I'm going to go speak to our pastor. And the pastor that the church we used to go to is a white church, but he was very well known in the Kenyan community. Yeah. He loved the Kenyan community. So I found the courage to go tell him what's going on, because that's the church that my ex-husband had walked in the altar to say he got saved. Yeah. So I went and told Pastor Greg what was going on and his wife. And Pastor Greg actually called my husband at the time and told him, you guys, we have counseling. We can offer you counseling. And my husband at the time said he refused. But Pastor Greg, I'm forever grateful for Pastor Greg and his wife. The church has a licensed therapist. And that is what saved my life. And they say, Caroline, if he doesn't want to go for therapy, do it for you. And the church paid for therapy. I started going for therapy. It took me a whole year while still I was in that marriage. I used to go every Thursday. And I was still living with my husband at the time, but I moved out of the bedroom. And that's when my therapist empowered me, you need to go get tested for STDs, because he had been sleeping out there with so many people. So I went, got tested, thank God I was negative. And I knew I needed to leave the house. Because one of the things my therapist told me, you cannot heal in the same environment that's causing you pain.
That keeps breaking you.
Yeah, because you may be doing all the right things to heal, but if you're still in that environment, it's not going to work. You have to leave that toxic environment. And I told him, let's do a separation. But at the time, he was like, I don't care. So I also needed to call my mom and let them know what was going on. Finally. So I did call my mom and I told her, I just poured my heart out. And she told me, I have been waiting for this phone call. She calls me Caro. Caro, I have been waiting for this phone call a long time. And it's okay. And one of the things my mom told me, if you have decided to leave with only the clothes in your back,
body.
But do not take anything in that house. And one of the things, I wanted to sue that guy. I wanted him to pay alimony. I was so ready to do everything to leave him broke. But my mom told me, do not take anything. Because especially when someone has abused you and you leave the marriage, in America, you can have that person is entitled to pay you money. But my mom was like, don't even take a penny
of his money.
Nothing from that house. So I told him I need a divorce. And I remember him saying, where do you even think you're going? Who do you think is going to love you like I do? You'll never find anyone to love you, And that messed with my head because you've been so beaten down. You have no identity. You have no self-worth. Your self-image, it's non-existent. But with the therapy, my therapist kept encouraging me, you need to leave. If he doesn't want, because I still wanted to save the marriage for some reason. But he did not want it. In fact, he went full-blown into cheating, Even one of the women he cheated with ended up getting pregnant. And also, to backtrack, I had actually gotten pregnant, but because of the stress of the relationship, I had a miscarriage. And also that was one of the things I said, and the miscarriage actually happened September 1st. That is why September has a big meaning for me, and I had to rewrite a lot of things in September. So I remember it was September 1st, 2004 or 2003, when I had that miscarriage. And for me, that was it. I knew I didn't care what else would happen. I knew for me, I'm done. So I continued therapy. I was still living in the other bedroom. And then in the process, my sister and I found an apartment. We were sleeping on the floor, and it was the best feeling ever. Because there are moments when I was living with my ex-husband where he would not come at night, and you knew he was with another woman. And if you've watched The Diary of a Black Woman, that's my life.
Yes.
That is my life. And I didn't even know who Tyler Perry was. Thanks, Tyler Perry. Because that's when I was like, oh my God, God can speak to you in movies, you know? Because when my sister and I moved to that apartment, I was finishing nursing school, and it was peaceful. We were sleeping on the floor, but it was the best thing ever, Lynn. It's the first time my mind was quiet, because it's like my mind used to race. And I remember one time where he hadn't come home. And I got in the car. I was driving like a crazy woman, looking which hotel is he in with this other woman, you know? And I was like, oh my God, someone can drive you nuts that you look as though you've lost your mind, you know? So when my sister and I moved to this apartment, it was the best thing ever. Peace. And I felt peace for the first time. And I continued with therapy for almost a whole year. And it's in therapy that I found I was an abused woman. Because when you're in it, you don't know what it is.
No, you don't.
You don't know what it is. And that's why shows like this one, you know, all the amazing guests that you've brought, when they share their story, it helps a woman see this is abuse. This is not right, you know. So I continued with therapy, but there are times you try and call me and try and woo me back, but I was done. And eventually the divorce process takes a while. We ended up getting divorced 2005, the official, although I had moved out 2004. And I continued with therapy because I needed a lot of healing. And my therapy sessions, I would just cry and cry and cry, because I had to grieve the marriage. I had to grieve the girl who had been abused. I had to grieve the dreams of being a mother. That's one of the things I always wanted to be a mother. You know, I had to grieve that child I had lost, and I did not know what lied ahead. But what kept me going was my sister.
Your small sister?
My small sister, Mary. She kept me going because, and just also to backtrack, when I was still in the marriage, when I had learned he had taken another woman to Las Vegas. I remember taking a bottle of Tylenol. I think it's like Panadol over here, extra strength Panadol. And he used to drink, because when he stopped serving the Lord and surrendering his life to the Lord, he went back to drinking. So there was alcohol in the house. So I mixed that with alcohol, and I had written a suicide note, and I had said, sorry, you know, I'm sorry, this is what I'm doing, but I've reached the end of my life. And I also say to God, if I wake up, then I know my life has a purpose. But if I don't, I'm so sorry. God, I didn't obey and listen. But I passed out, because that was on a Friday. On a Thursday. I passed out. I think it was Thursday into Friday, because I woke up the following day. And I was like, oh, I'm alive. Okay, God. Then, because that's what I had told God. If I wake up, then I know
life has a purpose.
I have a purpose. Because when you've been through life, through abuse, you've been through so much breaking, you even wonder, what am I here for? You know? I told God, okay, so show me what my purpose is. And I remember just taking the Bible. I was like, God, show me. Because I was like, if you don't show me, I don't have anything to live for. So he took me to Jeremiah 1 verse 5. And he says, before I formed you, I knew you. I set you apart for a reason. And before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And I set you apart. And he gave me the word destined. And that is where destined with greatness came in.
You know, this is the first thing I saw. You know, I was looking for Kenya, Carol, and stuff. Then I saw Destin, and okay.
And that's the word that he gave me to hold on to. Because sometimes you just need one word from God to push you through a season. And that gave me so much hope. And then I remember on that Friday, I decided I'm going to go for a kesha. There was a Kenyan church that used to have a kesha. So I went for the kesha. And the preacher, I don't remember who the preacher was. And the message he preached, where do the righteous run to when their foundations are broken? Because my foundation was broken. I was like, God, just rebuild my life. I don't even know where to start. But on that altar, I rededicated my life to God. And my sister and I continued living together. It was the best life ever. I continued healing. I started to feel, because I think I had been numb for so long that I couldn't feel. I continued, I graduated nursing school. I don't even know how I made it, because nursing school in the US is brutal. And he even came for my graduation. He came for my graduation. And I remember I knew with the therapy and the tools that the therapy was arming me with, was learning about boundaries, learning about the patterns of an abuser, learning about how the power of taking your life back, the importance of having healthy people and having someone you can call to before you make a mistake, you know. And my therapist, her name was Joanne Brendan, but she passed away. But I'm so grateful. Also for the church. And I wish we can have therapists in churches, because that made a difference for me. I don't even know if I would be here if the church hadn't offered therapy. And they didn't even charge me a thing. For a whole year, every Thursday at 7 p.m., I used to go for an hour and a half for therapy. And through therapy, I was able to heal. And healing is a process.
It is.
I first had to dig deep into the roots and discover, okay, one of the things for me, my part was enabling his behavior. And one of the things I also learned is I didn't know how to say no, simply because I hadn't been taught how to say no. And one of the things I also learned is know your worth. I didn't know my worth. In my 20 years, when I was 20, I didn't know who I was. I did not know who I was. You know, some of the 20 years old now, they already know who they are. For me, I did not know who I was. I was still discovering who I was. So, and I was looking back and I said, my ex-husband saw a naive girl who didn't know who she was, and he could, you know, manipulate and control whichever way he wanted. But in therapy, I found my worth. I realized I have greatness inside of me. You know, I have the ability to say no. And it's in therapy that I learned that I am not what happened to me. You know, I can heal from that, you know. And one of the things that she told me was, go back and learn the life lessons. Because when you don't learn from what happened to you, you're bound to repeat it. Because that's why some of the times you find you keep dating the same person simply because
it's a pattern.
You haven't learned from what happened to you, you know. So that's kind of the summary of my former life. And I was single for a while. I chose to be single. Intentionally. And I had gotten to a place, I was healing, I was happy, I was finding my joy, I was finding my groove back, you know, like that movie Stella got her groove back.
Stella got her
I was feeling myself. I was feeling like, okay, she's back. And I was like, I don't want no man. I just want to go to school. I want to work and I want to serve God. And that's exactly what I did. I sing, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yes,
Really?
I've released 2 CDs, and I started getting invitations.
You think we're just gonna proceed to the story without you singing for us first? No, let's hear some of that. Let's hear
Okay,
some
which
of that.
song should I sing?
The one that's in your heart right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know this was part of the.
This is this is part of it. Now we're not gonna just move to the better part and just not have you sing for us.
Okay.
So, go you.
I love worship music. Yes. Okay. There is none like you. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I have searched for all eternity long and find that there is none like you.
It's good.
I didn't know you put me on the spot. Oh my God.
You know who you are right now.
Amen.
So if we
Amen.
go sing, we'll sing. You know who you
Amen.
are. You're not double checking. You're not
Amen.
questioning, do I have it in
Yeah.
me? This is who you are right now. Go you.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you. And you know, I stole that word of yours, unapologetic.
You see, I bring you good things, guys. You
telling
just don't
you.
tell me even on the comment section. I bring you good things, you know.
I really
learned
love
another one.
Which one?
Retrogressive.
Retrogressive.
I'm waiting to put it in this conversation.
Okay.
I haven't just seen the place. I just haven't seen the place to put
wow.
it. Yes.
I love that word.
Yes.
We have to stop tiptoeing around our greatness,
Yes, we do.
and be unapologetic about it.
Yes.
So where was I? I even forgot.
The healing, the
okay,
intention.
the healing. Okay.
Yes.
So I purpose to be on that healing journey, discover myself.
Yeah.
And life was great. I was working, going to school, serving, doing a lot of ministry. A lot of Kenyan churches and American churches would invite me. And life was great.
Yeah.
Until it got to a place now, even all my friends, because I have a small circle of girlfriends, and a lot of them were happy that I left that man.
Yes, of
they were
course.
like, oh, finally, we could stand him.
Yes.
So they even now, all of them got married. I was even in their weddings, happy for them. And now I was the odd one out. They're all married now, I'm single. They even started telling me, Caroline, we need to hook you up with someone. You've been single for too long.
Yes.
But I was like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I got to a place where I was okay being by myself.
And that's the most important,
And it's important
part in life.
yeah.
They say if you can't dine by yourself, you can't be by yourself, you can't take yourself for a movie, you can't be in your own silence and in your own space.
Right.
Something is not okay. You gotta be able to do those things by yourself before you can do them with another person.
That is so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and I feel like we jump that part.
And it's
for us,
important.
it's like we want people to constantly fill us up, you know.
Yeah.
When I go for a movie, I gotta have someone with me. I gotta go eat, I have to have someone with me. I have to be in the house, I have to have someone with me.
Yeah.
And we skip this part of being alone, and it's very important.
It's very
because then
important.
you're with your own thoughts, you know.
Yeah.
You are being confronted by your own thoughts. You have to listen to your own thoughts. You have to. I feel like for me that's one of the most important parts in my life.
That's important because I'm glad you mentioned it, because my therapist told me now you need to date yourself.
Good.
And I was like, what do you mean date myself?
Yes, I dated myself and it was amazing.
I'm telling you.
Like it's amazing,
Yeah.
you know, like you just now even before you let someone else in your space.
Right.
It's just that person has to be really important. Because
very
that
true.
period, especially I love the moments you can cry by yourself as well. I used to go home and I was just like crying by myself. And you ask yourself questions and then you provide answers for those same questions. And it's not easy. But is it necessary?
It is
It
necessary.
is necessary. Because how can you date someone else if you don't know who you are?
That's so true.
Yeah.
So I would also take myself out.
Good.
I would go to movies. I would go to a restaurant, sit by myself. Yeah. But I knew I was here with God. So I was just like, okay, God is me and you. But I was very okay with that, you know. So what happened after that long single life, one of my best friend, Liz,
Hey, Liz. We also
she
have
told
our
me,
Liz.
Caroline, at least we need to hook you up.
That was after how long?
After, because that was in 2009.
Yes.
I was single all that time.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I had met some potential people, but
You are not feeling
this
it.
time I was armed with the tools.
Yeah.
I knew what to look for. And one of the things I always say, as from a woman perspective, if you want a potential spouse, find out what family he's from, find out about his friends. And in America, you can do a criminal background check.
Yes.
And you can also do, you can even do a credit check, because you want to know, does he have any hidden life addictions? You want to know, can this person tell you who they are? You know, it's more than the chemistry. It's integrity. It's character. Because what does he bring to the table? It's not just monetary stuff, you know, because we always say, okay, what do you bring to the table? It's go beyond monetary stuff. Go beyond. It's integrity, character, know what his family, where his family is from. And like back in the US, you can do a criminal background check, find out if he has side chicks or baby mamas, debt that you don't even know, that will catch you by surprise. Those are things you need to find out. So, but to fast forward, I decided, okay, because my friends are pestering me, let me just sign up for eharmony.com.
Okay.
And the reason why I was signing up at the beginning was to find out about my strength and my weaknesses. Because my friend Liz kept saying, you meet people, you don't want them, you meet people. And I was like, okay, is this something with me that I'm not meeting the right people?
Yeah.
So with eHarmony at the time, you'd answer, I think there were 200 questions or 400 questions.
Yeah.
Where after you're done, they'll tell you these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, and this is the kind of person you're compatible with. And so I signed up, and you also had to pay a fee. So they matched me up with my Charlie.
Hey, they did that.
They did. And then actually, but with eHarmony at the time, it was all via email.
Yes.
They could not let you see the profile or the picture of the person they had matched you with. So we were just communicating. Everything was just communicating. You couldn't see how he looks like. You couldn't see his picture.
God, so it's like, what's the series? Love is Blind.
Oh, yes.
So it's like that series.
Yes. But now via email.
Hey.
So I would write an email. It goes through their contact person. If it's, because they want to make sure it's appropriate. Then he receives it, then he replies. So we did that because I think that was May 2005. We emailed each other.
2005 or 2009?
2009.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah.
Emailed back and forth. Then after, because they want to make sure you've established communication. Then they asked us, are you at a place where you're ready to exchange phone numbers? And we're like, okay, yes. So the first time I spoke with Charles was in August. But my sister was getting married in September. And I told him, for me, and we both wanted the same things, both Christians, serious for marriage, dating with a purpose, no wasting time. Because I knew what I wanted this time. And my parents were coming for my sister's wedding. So I told him, by the way, if you're serious, he lived in Texas, I lived in Boston. It's like the end of like Mombasa to South Africa.
Oh no.
Yeah, because like the countries in Africa are like the states in America.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. So I told him, if you're serious with this, come meet my parents. If they approve of you, we will date. If not,
bye.
But I was like, I don't think this guy will fly all the way from Texas to Boston just to meet me and my parents.
Yeah.
But the next thing, he told me, which airport should I fly into? I was like, he's serious already.
Yes.
So he came, and it was the beginning of September. And that's what I was telling you, September.
Again.
There we go. So, because my sister and I share the same anniversary.
Yes.
So she was getting married September 3rd as well. So he came on a Friday. He met my parents. So he came to our house. My mom, my dad, my uncle, they all grilled him, asked him questions. Because this time I had to listen to my mom.
Yes.
Because I was like, if mom says he's not the one, I'm ready. I'm ready to.
We are burning bridges.
We're out.
Here. Yes.
So my mom, yeah,
But
go
let
ahead.
me ask you.
Yes.
You've not seen this person face to face.
No, we
you
hadn't.
just speak via email.
Yeah,
Then you
and on the phone.
him, and then he shows up.
We
Clearly,
stop.
he's good. He's good. He's
Thank
good.
you.
But when you saw him,
Yeah.
how was that like for you? Like,
It was a little awkward
Yeah.
because we had been talking on the phone, so we had established that communication,
Yes.
but we hadn't seen each other physically. So
Yeah.
it took a while to get used to. And, he's very proper.
Yeah, you just cannot say proper. Child, that's what she said. Just proper. Proper in what way?
The way his mannerism,
Yes.
he the way he treats me.
But he's good looking too.
Yes. Oh, yes, he's
Hey!
very handsome.
Why do you want to run away from this part? Come
Now you're
on.
making me sweat already. Oh my
Hey,
God.
I know.
Oh my God. So that's how we met, actually, on eHarmony.
Yes.
The first time we saw each other was when he landed in Boston. Met my parents. My mom called me in the kitchen after they had asked him a couple questions. My mom told me, oyo newe.
This is the one.
Dukamoige.
Hey.
I mean, don't take it too long.
Stop,
yeah.
Stop. Hey,
Yeah.
That is the best thing
So,
you can hear from a parent. you know?
it gave me freedom, and I knew I had their blessings, because the previous one I didn't have their blessings, and it mattered to me. The blessing of a parent, it really matters.
And we ignore that.
We ignore that. I always say, please get the blessings of your parents in everything.
Yes.
Because you will proceed, but you can't go so far without their blessings. Always honor your parents. So we celebrated my sister's wedding. We got to get to know each other more. And one of the things I love about my husband, Charles, when he was dating, we were dating, he told me, I'm dating with a purpose, with an intention to get married. And also another thing, he told me, we're not going to have sex until we get married. So I felt safe.
You felt
safe.
You had not.
Because the other one,
But you had not missed some intimacy. I'm not just asking for my
no,
people.
you obviously our body chemistry, you wanted it, but this time around we were both in agreement. We will wait until marriage.
Yeah.
So we got to know ourselves in other ways. Our convictions, our beliefs. We dreamed together. Yeah. And I felt safe.
And coming from a man, that's profound.
Oh yeah, because I was like,
say, just give a man good food, sex, and nice sleep, and that's it for a man.
Yeah.
But then you are here with a man who obviously you're giving him good food.
Yeah.
Maybe he's getting some good sleep, but he's not getting some, and he's the one telling you, this is how I want us to structure our life. That's profound, though.
And for me, it also meant we were honoring God, because at this time I had rededicated my life, and him also being a Christian, I was like, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. You cannot be eating the cake before, but when you have a man who honors you that way, you feel safe, because as a woman, you want safety, because my previous one, and there's no comparison. There's no comparison. But for me, I felt safe. I knew, even when we're together, I knew he's not gonna violate my boundaries, and I also won't violate his boundaries, So we understood each other that way. And so 2000, we dated, 2010, then we got married 2011, September 3rd.
Again.
So I had needed to
so you just celebrated your
12 years
yesterday. No, the day before yesterday.
The day before yesterday. 12 years. It just seems like yesterday. Yeah. So I always say there is hope and there is life beyond divorce.
Yes.
I always say, do the healing. Do the healing first. because you don't want to be so broken that God can bring the right person and you'll mess up that relationship, you know, because I remember I told him everything I had been through, you know, and I always say, lay everything at the table, you know, show who you are at the beginning of that relationship.
Not uko katikati.
Not afterwards. You're like, oh, by the way,
You know,
I have this and
yes,
this, you know,
at
and
the
I'm like,
beginning.
man, that is so wrong.
Yes.
Because I had gotten at a place where I was like, let me put everything at the table. If he wants this woman,
Then
fine. If he doesn't, I'm okay. Because I was at a place in my life, I'm okay. I was not willing to bend
Yes.
or be pushed anymore. Because now I knew who I was. I had rebuilt my self-image. I knew what I wanted in a man. So we've been married 12 years. It's
Congratulations.
been an amazing journey. Obviously, there have been challenges,
Yes.
but when you both know the Lord, you can overcome anything.
Yeah.
And one of my message is everyone has greatness inside of them. And no matter the obstacles that you go through life, God has empowered you to overcome them. And one of the other life lessons I like to share is that, and I'll keep repeating it, you are not what happened to you. Because there's a time in my life where all I identified with was what I had been through. You know, and that can become your life.
Why does it happen that way? Because you feel like, you know, it's just the other day
Yeah.
I realized your future, present, and everything is right in front of you, but you will never recognize it because you keep dwelling on the past. We live in the past. We live on what happened.
Right.
Because I've been a victim. You know,
Yeah.
you live there. I wish this could have been this way. I wish I had done this. I wish I had said this. Like
Yeah.
you constantly live in the past, in the past, in the past. Your present has no meaning at all.
I think why that happens is because we haven't taken the time to heal and to really uncover the wounds, get to the root, heal from the root, you know, and do the inner work.
Yeah.
It's so important to take that time and heal.
Yes.
Because if you don't heal, you're going to remain stuck. You're going to show up as a victim in everything you do. You're going to sabotage even opportunities that are presented to you. You're going to sabotage even a great relationship, you know. And everywhere you go, you leave damage,
Heart and heart and heart.
you know. And as the other day you were saying, healed people, heal people.
Hurt people.
Hurt people.
Hurt
You see, I watch your show.
Yes. Yeah.
I watch your show
you
faithfully.
do. You
faithfully.
do. Yes.
So healing is so important.
Yeah.
And this platform of yours is spreading healing to so many people.
Thank you.
Because during my time, we didn't have this. We didn't have people who look like us, you know, that are sharing our stories that we can relate with, that have been through what we've been through. We didn't have that. So I commend you for what you are doing.
Thank you.
This is purpose and ministry and work merged together.
Oh, I needed that affirmation too.
Even I have goosebumps.
Oh, yes.
You see?
Oh, yeah.
When your purpose and your work and ministry has merged, you're unstoppable. And one of the things I love about you is your humility, your servant leadership. And I was sharing earlier before we started, you know, what we're seeing is your harvest. You know, your preparation seemed so long because God is preparing you and your team for the stages of the world. And one of the other things the Lord told me is we need to really appreciate you and not compare you. And I know we look up to other people like the Oprahs and all of that. But one of the things God was correcting me is to stop saying Lynn as the Oprah of.
You know, I never wanted to see it on this show, but my partner can tell you.
It's in my phone. It's in my phone.
Really?
As we were flying from, oh God. Oh, God. Oh, God. God was just downloading this. And he said, we need to give you your honor. Your honor. And not compare you to the Amampas or the Oprahs. You are lean. You are lean with your team. And for me, that's what God said. We shouldn't compare you to anyone, because what God has done is a God thing. And what people are seeing is the harvest. They don't see the preparation. But also the other thing he said is prepare for your own bigger studios as well. And people will come to consult you. And people are looking, and people who've been in this industry for so long are wondering, what is your secret? Because what God has done, he has collapsed time frames for you. What takes others so long, God has shortened it because of the stages of the world that he's bringing you to. So stretch your tent, stretch your tent, stretch your tent. Yeah, because there are people who are, how did she just come up? They're wondering, but they don't know the secret. You and God have a relationship. And God, you know how he prepared Joseph? How he prepared Moses? You know, that preparation season. It's lonely. You go through rejection. It's a wilderness. What we're seeing is harvest. And that's why I love that word, unapologetic. And it's with humility and grace and poise that you say it, you know, and they are wondering, how has she done this? It's a God thing. It's a God thing, and it's unstoppable. And one of the things God said, you have a pure spirit that cannot be corrupted. So keep doing what you're doing. God has got you. And your amazing team, and because you have an amazing team.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, just wanted to encourage you, because you encourage us a lot. So may you also be encouraged with your amazing team and their families as well. God has got you guys. God has got all of you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I needed that.
Oh,
I
you're
feel
welcome.
all of us needed that.
Yeah.
All of us needed that. All of us, because I love Oprah.
Yeah.
I love Ahmad. I love
Yeah.
them. But I feel like every time people do that, it takes, I don't know. I don't
It
even
takes
wanna
away
say.
from who you are. You have built this with your team and God.
Yeah.
And that's one of the messages really God emphasized. And I wrote it on my phone. We shouldn't compare you to anyone. You are lean.
Yes.
You are lean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah.
God, I needed that. I was so looking forward to this show.
Because I was like, God, should I say it? Should I
No,
not?
you should.
But
Thank you for
when
saying it.
God gives you a word,
You can't keep
you
quiet about it.
I will not have peace
Yes.
if I
Until you
leave.
speak it out.
That's right.
I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
You know,
You are
and you just
welcome.
have beautiful energy. God, I feel I needed that.
Yeah.
I wanted that so bad, because sometimes you don't know. You people tell you, you know, you're great, you're doing this, you're amazing, everything, but you just keep doubting yourself over and over. You just keep downplaying it. You just keep self-sabotaging it, as Rona was saying the other day. You know, you know you have it in you, but every time it's like you're looking for an opportunity to dim your own light. Every day you just want to dim your own light, and then God just confuses you and he makes you peaceless, and every day he's just like, wake up, wake up, wake up. I really needed that, especially because I feel I'm at a place in my career right now, like there's something I want so bad, and I don't want to explain it to people. I don't want to explain it. I just want to do it. So thank you for that.
You are welcome.
You
are welcome.
You blessed me.
Love you. We love you. I hope you feel the love.
I do.
And we pray for you.
Yes.
You know, women, this is the first time we're meeting, but I always pray for you and your team.
Yes.
Because this right here is purpose, healing, and work all merged together. That's
Purpose,
unstoppable.
healing and work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna note today.
Yeah.
Purpose, healing. Yes, I'll move into my light.
It's all merged together.
Yeah.
And not many people merge that
Yes.
and do great things
Yeah.
well that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I'm happy
Thank
that
you.
you're here.
Thank you so
This
much.
is the only show I have today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Usually, for, like today, I was just looking forward to doing like 3 or 4 shows.
Okay.
But for some reason, I was just looking so forward to
Yeah.
come and film this show and go
I
home.
couldn't even sleep.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was restless
Yeah.
because I was, and then my brother, he dropped me, and I was like, "Please, we gotta wake up early." And then the lights went off.
Welcome to Kenya.
Say your cold shower, nakwambia. I had to boil water for my husband. He's not used to cold water. I told him, "Honey, welcome to Kenya."
So if you see, they had to. They did us a good one. The
I was
other
like,
day,
me, I grew up with a blackout, so
Yes.
I'm used to it,
yeah,
you know.
they did a good one on us the other day.
But thank God I had ironed my clothes last. Actually, he had ironed my clothes for me.
He did that.
Yes. So I was
Yeah.
like, thank God we ironed it last night,
Yes.
because I would have shown up with a crisp dress. So we were up. What time did we get? Like 5. We've been up at 5.
Yes.
But I was looking forward to being on time. You
Yes.
cannot afford to be late for Lynn's show.
Yeah, I
you know.
appreciate that. You
And
know?
I was like, you know what? I'm so
Yes.
happy. I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was restless,
Yeah.
but I'm grateful to be here,
Yay.
to meet your amazing team.
Yay.
We're also looking for that amazing with the men's show.
Oh yeah, Joshua J. Karanja.
I watch you too.
Yes. Yeah.
Make sure you're teaching the men how to honor and respect the women. How when a woman says no, it's a no. How to respect that. You know, how to handle women. You know, because that's also a great ministry that's going to help a lot of men. Because there are a lot of men need that. Because I was watching your show with Daddy Owen.
Yes.
That was huge.
Yes.
That was huge.
Yeah.
And the men need that.
Yes. They need
And
that.
teach them from even primary school,
Yeah.
you know, how to speak to the women,
Yes.
you know, because a lot of us, I didn't grow up with abuse in my family, but when I got married, I saw that, and I look back, because he told me my ex-husband grew up in a single mother home, and abuse is passed on. Abuse is passed on just like trauma is passed on. And a lot of people need to heal from the effects of the trauma.
Yes.
And one of the things I realized, wow, could be he had witnessed abuse in his family, you know, and that's why healing needs to take place.
Good.
And I'm glad you have this.
Good.
That's really helping a lot of people
Good.
to heal.
Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah.
you're watching the men's day. It's one show that
I
we are
am
looking forward
I remember you
Yes.
saying about it, and he has, and I've watched a couple of your shows too. Great work. I'm looking forward to what you're going to do with the men.
Yes.
It's a big gap.
It's a big gap.
That's gonna be
Yes.
so effective.
Yes.
You know, start teaching those men. Yeah, that way we don't have so many broken people, broken
breaking other
relationship.
people.
You know, we don't have to be so broken.
Yes.
Because God wants us to live a great life and to really fulfill our purpose,
Yes.
purpose in a healthy, whole state.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you're wounded, it's hard to fulfill your purpose.
It is hard. I'm just
Yeah.
so happy you
Yeah.
came. We needed your words. We
Thank
needed
you.
your encouragement.
Thank you.
Trust you me. This is exactly what I needed this
Amen.
morning. And you see how
Amen.
God doesn't make mistakes.
He never makes
You
mistakes.
just know your show is ordained when God just doesn't make mistakes, you know.
Amen.
But your amazing hubby is right there.
All right, he's all yours. Honey, get ready for the question.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's right there, and I'm just looking for an opportunity if time will allow us.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something he needs to bless us with.
Yes.
But looking at him right now, and I love that you've said you are not what happened to you.
Yes.
When you see him, what do you see? What is his representation of love when you see him? What has made you be with him? And I see you even blushing. I love when a woman can still blush when she's been together with a man for all that time.
Oh my goodness.
What is it about him?
I think number one is the friendship. The friendship, you know. I'm very goofy. He's a little serious,
Yes.
but it's the friendship that we've had for a long, long time. And most importantly, to know that a woman can be loved again, that there's a man who can love a woman who's been through stuff, and he can love you right and be a representation of God's love to you.
Yeah.
And we've done so much life together, traveled together. Through him, I've been able to do a lot of things. He's been a blessing in my life. And he's the reason why I even encourage others to let them know that there are men who are ready to love women who've also been through stuff.
Good.
You know,
Good.
They're amazing men out there who will respect and honor you, who will protect you and lead you.
Yes.
They're men who will not violate your boundaries, that you can feel safe with.
Yeah.
You know, they know when you say no, it's a no.
It's a no.
You know?
Yeah. Do you think I should interview him?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes.
I'm not going down without him telling us a little bit. I'm gonna have him next.
Okay.
But
yes.
What would you? No, maybe I should have him here so he can tell you, and then I move on to his episode because I'm not letting him go. Introduce him, Miss. You sure you ironed the right shirt? We are good.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
so he has no excuse.
He's got no
Karibu
excuse.
sana.
But I had told him, honey, just prepare.
Yes.
You never know. Lynn might ask you questions.
He's well prepared, right? Yeah. Come on.
All right, sweetheart, come.
Yeah. Yes. I love this for my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's all right, honey.
Yes. Come. Okay.
The pressure. He's a wise man.
Yes.
A gentle giant. A man of God.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to have you in my life.
Yeah.
And so thankful to God. Yeah. So Lynn,
yes,
he's all yours.
He's all mine. Yes, gosh. So I'm gonna let you leave so that before you go, so that he feels free.
Okay.
Maybe he doesn't want to be talking and looking at me saying the right thing here, you know.
Okay.
But what would you want to tell him before I let you go? And also, if my people want to interact with you, where can they find you?
Okay.
Yes.
I first want to say thank you for loving me. Thank you for being my hubby. I call him my lovey.
Yes.
But most importantly, I thank God for the man of the house that you are and how you've taken care of me for 12 years, how you've come to Kenya with me, even with the blackout and the... and the cold water.
Yes.
Just being there, taking care of me, loving me. I really thank God for 12 years together. We've gone through ups and downs, but I want you to know I would not want to do it with anyone else but you. Amen.
Yes, you can give her a kiss. Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's
Lynn.
nice.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, don't sweat. I'm just gonna move this mic.
Okay,
put
to
it.
him.
No.
Okay.
Before I let him say something beautiful to you, where can our people find you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm on Facebook.
Yes.
And Caroline Beatty Day. And every Thursday I have a Facebook Live. It's called Destined with Greatness podcast show.
Yes.
I also have a YouTube, but I haven't been very active,
Yeah.
but I can hear Lynn say,
Yes.
get active
There you
on
go.
that YouTube Caroline.
Yes.
So I will start working on that
Yeah.
as well, but mostly it's Facebook.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the name so they can come start subscribing as we wait for you to get back to it?
It's Destined with Greatness.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
on
right.
YouTube.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah.
So we can hear from Charles now before
All
I let
right.
you go. Yes.
First of all, I want to take a moment to apologize for the trauma and the pain that you've been through. Even though it wasn't done by me, but I still think it's appropriate for someone to say sorry.
Thank you.
If there's anything that I've learned listening to the story again, is hearing your heart. You have a pure heart. You're always willing to go out on a limb for a person, and you're willing to serve and to love, and that was taken for granted and that was abused. So initially, to start, I want to say I'm sorry. And then on top of that, you've brought, as I said in my post the other day, you always bring class, your peace. You bring peace, you bring joy, you bring laughter wherever you go. And I've been a benefactor of all the growth that you've gone through. And I'm grateful that God connected us in an untraditional way.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we met either nonetheless.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the ups and the downs, the challenges, the good and the bad,
Yeah.
the days that are challenging and are rough, but
Yeah.
we've weathered the storm together, and I'm glad that you're my partner in life.
Oh,
I look forward to the days that we can sit on the beach together and reminisce.
yeah.
May God continue to open doors for you. May He continue to grant you grace and favor for the days ahead.
Amen.
And I love you.
I love you too, my love. Thank
Feeling
you.
good. I love this for these shows, man.
Oh,
I love
thank
happy.
you.
I love. I love, you know. And
Yeah.
as he said, go you have a pure soul.
Amen.
And a pure soul knows another.
Amen.
It doesn't come with confusion.
Yes.
It has a lot of clarity in it. And you just go, and may God open more doors for you, you know.
Amen.
The same way you're supporting us, that's the same way we are saying a silent prayer for you. May the desires of your heart, you know, may God see the desires of your heart. May He continue you destinies after destinies after destinies. May your story change a lot of people. May it heal a lot of hearts, you know. Yeah, so thank you for coming. And now I'm going to interview your hubby. But
right.
before I can let you go, guys, you are going to be watching the husband's story tomorrow at 10 a.m. So allow me to close this episode here. But God, as I always ask, what is your take home from today's conversation? And even if you want to reach out to Carol, I can call her Carol because now she's my friend, you know. Here are the social handles and her YouTube. Go subscribe because we will be in pressure. We will apply pressure until she can be able to give us these beautiful things on her platform. So go subscribe. Let us be patient as we wait for her to put something there, because I know she will. But other than that, do share with me your take home from today's conversation. I'm a happy girl this morning. I love these shows. I love the rebuilding series. I love that we are able to learn from each other, and I love the affirmations that came with today's conversation. So let me know what your thoughts are, and also if you want to share your story on rebuilding, info@lnn.digital. That's where we at. And now when you go back to America, use tap send.
Yes, I saw.
Please,
the new one
please
you're
just
using.
use.
Yes.
There is discount for the
for
first.
Lynn.
If now you know you are two.
Yes.
Do you know they are putting the numbers there? How many people will lean? So just all of you, take your phones, Play Store or App Store, download a tap send, and send money to us back here.
And use
use the Lynn code. You know, you'll get a discount. You can send me the discount. Ukunyuma now after they give you the discount because it's good.
Yes.
And just go and use it so that we are able to continue working with great partners and impacting people one step at a time. And even for you guys who are watching, just download tap send and let me know what you feel about it. So I'm gonna go in for this conversation with Charles and see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. God bless. Bye.
Oh my God.